Yeah.
Hello, 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 and welcome. It is me, your girl Cindy Jean from the Master Key System. The Master Key System helps all people from all walks of life discover who they are and get rid of who they're not. And I have Marvin Deer here from Marvin Talks that is going to be spending some time with me to really dive deep, to really get in the nooks and crannies, to
Yeah.
ask those questions and discover those things that we're trying to get out of, to get rid of, so that we can have room for an abundant life, a life of joy and happiness, the things that we truly desire in our life. So, Marvin, dear, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, busy schedule. I know how crazy things are to put this program together with me and really dive deep with my audience and your audience together.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yes. I'm glad to be here, Cynthia. We always talk about how we can show people who they're not to understand who they are. And I think that's very, very important that we actually have in this show today to just really break it down because a lot of people don't understand what they may not understand what we're talking about. Understand who you're not to accept who you are. You know, I think it's very important. So I'm very much looking forward to the show today.
You said something like some people might not understand. Do you want to start there about
Okay, let's get this started then. So
yes.
you kind of put me on the spot right here today. So let's first start to understand who we're not. How sometimes people tell us things about ourselves that may offend us. We may not think it's true. I guess let me give you an example. Just say a person can say you're selfish,
Mhm.
and we may think that we're not selfish, and a lot of people feel that being selfish is wrong. And I have a different perception for that. Being selfish, I think it's kind of like, if you're not selfish, if you're not who you are, who else could you be? So if a person say you are selfish and you say, you know what, who else could I be other than being myself? Unless you want me to be someone else. But to truly understand who I'm not, I must know who I am.
Yeah.
So when someone call you selfish and you kind of get offensive by that, it's very questionable that you may not know who you are. I guess
Well,
we can. I guess we can start there, Cynthia.
yeah, that's a heavy hitter. There's a couple places that you touch point on that. Well, actually, first, when people call you selfish,
Hmm.
in order for someone to recognize any level of
Selfishness.
selfishness,
Hmm.
they first have to see that they might have a lack of selfishness towards themselves. What is selfishness? Selfishness is someone that just really thinks about themselves, put their wants and needs and desires first. What's
Hmm.
wrong with that? Taking care. If what the when you're in the airplane, they tell you to put on your air mask before you help
Yeah.
somebody else. Is
Yes.
that being selfish? You see
Well,
what I mean?
compared to the
So
airport lines, no, they want you to protect. They want you to protect yourself first. So,
exactly.
so I guess
So
we can. I guess we can give an example of. Let's go dive deep into one of our memories of someone saying something about you being selfish, Cynthia, and then let me see. Can I analyze the difference between understanding who you're not? Because we're not going to focus on who we are right now. We're just
I
going to
even,
focus on who we're not.
while you were talking, I even have a better example.
Okay.
An example when someone said I was incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's something that it sounds like it's degrading.
Yes.
When at first hand, when you first hear, "Oh, you're incompetent," someone sits across the table in front of like master PhD people and call you incompetent. And
Yeah.
call you, you're like, "Oh, wait." But as I went home and I read that word,
Mm-hmm.
Marvin,
Yeah.
The description is someone that is doing something that they do not know how to do.
So was it true at the moment when they expressed that to you?
Of course, it's true because we're all doing things that we don't know how to do.
Yeah.
Life, who knows how to live life? You only have one to live. So every single day is a new beginning, a new day to learn something new. So, but at that time, I wasn't as enthusiastic as I am now while I tell you the story.
Yes.
It was over years of revelation.
So tell me now, since someone told that you was incompetent, and how did that make you feel when they announced that to you, when they exposed that?
Oh, wow. That made me feel, first of all, that at that moment, I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I have two choices. Okay.
Hmm.
You want to hear what those two choices were?
Yes. What was the first choice?
So I had a choice to slap that hoe.
I hope you didn't choose that choice.
Oh, sorry, but that was the first choice, and then I was like, I don't think we at that level anymore. That's like a kindergarten
Yeah.
level. And then the second choice was to look at that to look at the people sitting at that table and say, I'm sitting in the midst of very intellectual individuals,
Hmm.
and if one of my colleagues are announcing that, and this is not just any type of colleague, but a colleague that I respect. You see
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
Is announcing that maybe I need to step back and reevaluate.
Now, when she announced this, making this statement, did she do it in front of everyone?
Yes, it was done in front of everyone.
Now, I want to ask you a question because it's and I want to go back on this, everyone, because I really want you to understand when we're around friends and family, and when we're trying to correct someone or make someone better, because believe it or not, these comments is for to make us better. But when you do it in front of people, that's your peers, and you make a statement like that, especially if you're presenting something or you have a position that you're running, and a person just say you're incompetent, in front of everyone. That's like very degrading for one. It's like that person trying to belittle you right there in front of everyone, like to show everyone that you're not capable of running or doing whatever you're trying to do. So when we do feel that we should share these things with people, I think we should do it in love. And in love, meaning after the meeting, you actually go to and say, "Hey, Cynthia, today you was talking about something that I feel like you really didn't understand what we was talking about. So I just want to share with you and help you with this so that the next meeting we can actually, you can actually perform in the way that you're what you're talking about." So at that very moment, Cynthia, you found out about who you wasn't. You know that you wasn't a great presenter in that particular topic, or you knew what you thought you didn't know what you thought you knew in that particular topic.
Well,
So you was incompetent in that very moment.
in this incident, um, the person that had called me incompetent was a person that I was in business with.
Hmm.
So
So
they
there was
were
a partner.
looking, yes, it was a partner trying to push me out the business
Mm.
without paying.
See that's
So
see that's another thing. Like when you go into the control drama, so we're gonna stay in the moment
we
right
got to stay focused because there's a
now.
lot of elements in this
We're going into
story.
we're going into the
But
control drama part of the
like that's
story.
why I told you I had two choices.
Yeah, so
Don't forget,
I
I
see
told you.
why one of your trusts was slapped that individual because how they tried to embarrass you in front of everyone.
I
But
said, I know. I said, I know she crazy. And then, but so that's why the second, I wouldn't be sitting at this table.
Mhm.
You would have, if I was incompetent, you would have never taken me on as a partner.
You can actually take someone as a partner without fully knowing everything that you know. But at that very moment, you found out something about yourself. that you didn't know. So the whole topic today is about understanding who we are, understand who we're not, to understand who we are. So if you was so you understood that you was incompetent in that particular situation. So you went in the background, did the work, which I call the shadow work, did the work in the background, and educated yourself on what you was incompetent on. So
Mhm.
now, when you go back to that platform, you're no longer that person. You have changed
Exactly.
completely.
Exactly.
Now you
So,
are a new
that's the
individual.
master key.
Yes,
That's the
that's
master key right
yeah.
there.
Knowing that, being able to take criticism, even though she tries to embarrass you,
She
and
tried
even
to
though
crush
you
my
kept your
spirit.
ground and professionalism, but you still found out something about yourself at in that very moment that
Hmm.
you need to go back and figure out what is it about me that I need to fix right now? Why
Yes.
do I not know the very thing that I'm presenting? I should know this kind of stuff. No one should be able to call me incompetent no more ever again because I'm gonna fix that.
Hmm.
So when you fixed it, how did you feel when you fixed it? Like when you went in the background and start to understand what you wasn't and start to replace it in who you really
I'm,
was.
I'm still in the process of fixing now, dear Mr. Dear, Mr. Dear. I'm still in the process.
But you fixed it. You
because
fixed
it's
that
because
level
we're
of it.
always everybody is at a certain point in their life incompetent. So
Yes.
when I took it with because I did go out, I have to tell you this. I have to be honest to the audience,
Okay.
to our listeners, and really just reveal myself. I had a moment of self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I had moments and bouts of self-doubt.
Yes.
Okay. It's
That's
not
what
until
happened.
I ventured out and started meeting. Now I'm looking for competence. So I venture out and start meeting other individuals that are on a higher pedestal, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yes.
multi-billionaire status. And in private interviews, they're saying that they don't know. They were incompetent. That this, and I said, wait a minute. I come all this way, travel all this, spend all this money just to find out that everybody's incompetent.
In some shape or form, every now and then we are. I don't think we can. All of us cannot be. We cannot know all things at all times.
Exactly.
So we are going to be incompetent in some level in our life.
The master key is to know who you are. And that's all. And once you know who you are, you're going to be able to design, to craft that individual,
Yes. Yes.
and once again, I'm gonna repeat it again. That's the master key system. Figuring figuring out who you are. That's where we need to start. When people One thing that I've come to realize is that people are going to tell you
Yes.
what they feel, because that's their relationship to when the light hits you. You either gonna look a certain way. It's gonna look a certain way to certain people. You see me? You see what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
So they can only describe you from the words that they have from within. At that time, I could have never called someone incompetent because that's not in my vocabulary. I've
Hmm.
never heard that type of word used. I've read it in books. I know it exists, but I would have never chose that word. I still to this day don't use that type of vocabulary.
What word would you would have chose, or if any?
Everybody's different, but I definitely am happy that she did choose that word,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't change it for for anything, because that has catapult. There's certain experiences you have to give honor where honor is due.
Yes.
there's certain experiences that really change the trajectory of your life, the
Yes.
direction of your life, where at that time I was really thinking very small,
Yeah.
but when she gave me, it's like she gave me a power, like, you don't know anything. Now I had the power of nothingness. And the black hole is big, it could hold a lot. So I had the power of nothing. So I
Hmm.
went out there as an innocent individual, and I was able to, and without that mask on, I'm the boss lady, da 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 da,
Yeah.
I was able to attract more people that were willing to help, that were on the same journey, that were good individuals,
Yeah.
because now I was at the point of freedom. So that word really just released me to not have a mask on anymore. I don't
Yeah.
have to be that boss lady. I don't have to be the one that knows everything. Da, 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 da. I've been called out. I don't know nothing. So now I'm at the point, there's something out there that some other people obviously know that I don't. So I need to figure it out and open up my horizons. And opening up my horizons has taken me to, I want to say, over 15, 20 states, has taken me internationally to Turkey, is has expanded my friendships, you know, to I have you, my spiritual guru, which is my first you were my first the first
Yeah.
one to fall into the nothingness and help and build something out of nothing. So I'm just excited. I'm excited to come out of that abyss of nothingness with people like you,
Yeah.
with other people that are in my armory, that are supporting me and encouraging me and teaching me.
Hmm.
I couldn't ask for nothing else. When you come out of nothing with all that treasure, I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing when you go within and you see the universe, God, Allah, however you call it,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, sends you, someone like you into my armory, which is, you're a dear friend to me.
Yeah.
We've known each other, it feels, for light years.
I think we have. We've been knowing each
So,
other in past lives.
yes.
If anybody out there believe that, past lives, we experience these lives more than once. We just remember this one that we're in.
Oh, so we've definitely
That would be a
known
that'll be
each
a
other
that'll
in
be
the
a that'll be
past.
another show to really go deep into that. But let me elaborate on what Cynthia just expressed,
Mhm.
because I think it's very important to see these things the way we see these things. So, understanding who you're not to understand who you are. That is one of my sayings that I have, announced over and over and over throughout me and Cynthia conversations and throughout the journey of us getting to know our true selves. But so I'm gonna start back on a story of mine, probably about probably about 10 years ago. I had a prayer. I was praying one night, trying to figure out what was going on with me, why I was doing what I was doing, and couldn't figure out why. So I asked God to give me peace and give me understanding in the situation. Little did I know that when God give you peace or an understanding, He first had to give you chaos and not understanding in order for you to truly understand peace and understanding. I didn't know what I was asking for, but over the years, I figured out what I was asking for because things just kept happening. I was like, Lord, I want to be this motivational speaker. I want to be, help people in the world. I want to, show who you are and to change the world. And he was like, well, first you have to change you. You are the world. And everybody that you see in it is just part of you. So I first need to show you who you're not. And I was like, what that mean, who I'm not? Like, I think I'm Marvin Deer. He's like, no. That is not who you are. That is your name. That is your egoic name, your human name, but that is not who you are.
Mm.
But first, I need to show you who you're
That's
not.
deep.
And that is Marvin Deer. You're not Marvin Deer. You are God expressing himself as Marvin Deer.
Ooh,
That's who
that's
you
deep.
are. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is the voice that's going on within me in the midst of me praying and meditating. This is the voice that's talking to me. You are not Marvin Deer. You are God expressing himself as Marvin Deer in the body. You don't remember this, but you are going to. And I'm going to take you on the journey of remembering. But first, I need to take you on the journey of who you are now. And that is who you're not. So, man, I had to go through all, man, because when you hear a person say, I need to understand who I'm not. Or I want to be this, great individual, this God fearing man that you put on this earth for me to be. And the Spirit of God said, well, I need to show you the weak man. I need to show you the human side of yourself. Because without that, you can never understand me. You can never understand how much you truly need me if you don't understand your human self. And I was okay, well, show me. And the way he started to show me was he started to show me my insecurities. He started to show me how selfish I was.
Mm.
He started to show me that I didn't like listening to no one other than myself. If it's not what I thought it was, I don't want to hear it. He started to show me that I wasn't no caring, compassionate individual. I was
Mm.
like, I was just, if it wasn't about Marvin, it wasn't about nothing. And how, man, when he started to show me all these things, what that I was not, I was like, I'm a very bad person. Like, I need to deal with this in some kind of way. Like, how can I really truly been that bad? Because I thought I was actually good.
Mm.
And it was just the moment of clarity when he just kept showing me. And these things happen bits and pieces over the years. It didn't happen all at once. It's like people like Cynthia may say, Marvin, you don't listen. Or when I was married, they always told me, you don't listen. You always want to run your mouth. You'll never want to listen. And then when I want to tell you something, you never want to hear what I got to say. You always want to overtalk me. And I didn't think that I used to overtalk people, but I did a whole lot. That was like one of my MOs. I overtalk because I don't want to hear the shit. Well, excuse my friend, everybody. I didn't want to hear it because I didn't know what I just did not know how I was displaying myself.
Yeah.
I was really being a fool, and that's the way that people saw me. And but I didn't see myself that way. I had to really show great humility to just bow down and say, you know what, you're right. I don't listen. I do overtalk. I am selfish. You know, but why? Why do I exercise these things to people? Why am I hurting people? And I had to really find out that the reason I was hurting people because I was hurt,
Mm.
throughout the years, through relationships, through parenting, through mother, as when I was a child, just different things that come up in your life. You don't remember these things because I feel that when you experience a bad memory, you remember the feelings of it and you have developed side effects throughout your life and you don't never
Mhm.
see them. You just only see the side effects of that memory. So understanding who you're not is a journey, but that would be probably one of the hardest journeys in your life that you're ever going to take to truly want to know who you are not. Because now you are truly being selfish. You're only paying attention to yourself. And I think when a person truly be selfish, they can truly understand and learn how to extend love to others because they would figure out how to love themselves. So the first person you need to fall in love with is you.
Yes.
If it's not you, who else could it be? If
Hmm.
I can't fall in love with me and understand, if I can't say, Marvin, I forgive you, Marvin, I value you, Marvin, I respect you, Marvin, I love you. I love you so much that I am going to listen to other people and allow them to mold me the way God want me to display myself. That's how much I love me. So if I love myself that much, what do you think I'm gonna do with all of that love? I'm going to extend it to you because I know how it felt when I wasn't loving myself. I know the pain and the frustration I had to endure and go through when I wasn't loving myself. So why would I want to put you through all of that?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Now we have to ask ourselves these questions. Why do I want to put someone else through that much pain and agony that I had to experience? So you talking about the show is called the master key. That is a master key where you can actually go into your mental memories and put the key in and turn it and open the door. And when you look inside the door and you see you, like, that's who I used to be.
Yeah.
That's who I am. That's how I'm displaying to the world.
Yeah.
That's what you see in me. Like, damn, I didn't know I was that messed up. I thought I was actually a good person.
You say something. We go into our memory and open up a door and remember who we are,
Yes.
who we were, who we were trying to be.
Or just remember the memory of,
Yeah.
because you have to understand,
That
we're trying to
space,
figure out who
that
we're not.
room.
Yeah, we're figuring out who we're not right now. That's the whole key, who we are not. So when I
Mm-hmm.
open that door to that memory of who I'm thinking I am, and I look at that memory in another perspective, I'm like, I didn't know that is what you meant when you said you're never going to be good enough. I didn't know that you wasn't talking to me. I didn't know that you was talking to my dad through me. I
Mm.
didn't know you was judging me, but you was also judging the person that created me. You don't know, or you was judging yourself. You wasn't judging
Mm-hmm.
me. You was judging you. You felt like you never was going to be anything. So to make you feel better, you had to dump all your insecurities out on me and make me feel better, make me worse, or I developed these perceptions of I'm not good enough for you. I'm not good enough to be your son or to be your husband or to be, to be your father. These are the things that you have to understand, that if you don't struggle with these issues, you have to really see clearly when people judge the hell out of you, they may just be judging themselves and you
So
just the mirror, like the man in the mirror, like that Michael Jackson song, The Man in the Mirror. You look in the mirror, you only see yourself. When you judge other people, you're only judging yourself. Thou should not judge unless judgment place its same measure upon thee. These is the reason why these things are being said, because we only see what we are. Now, if I didn't see it, like Cynthia, like I
mhm.
love her dearly, and I don't see nothing in Cynthia that I don't see in myself. So if I see nothing in Cynthia, that means that I see nothing in me. But the
Mhm.
moment I go to judging her, the moment I go to seeing insecurities in her, it can be one or two things. They are really there within her. And whenever she display them towards me, now they affect me when she display them towards me. That means that I have them too. But if they don't affect me and I just don't never pay no attention to them, and I just say, hey, Cynthia, you do know you got an issue there. Every time I do this, you do that. Because it was an incident me and Cynthia had to find out who she wasn't. And I was like, I noticed I did a repair job for Cynthia, and um, whenever it came to money, she got tense, like real, ugh. Like you could see her shoulder get all tensed up, like, ugh. And I was like, Cynthia. And I
Like
could
this,
be like,
like this right there.
ugh.
That one right there.
I said, Cynthia, I said, I didn't say nothing to you the first time you did it. I didn't say nothing to you the second time you did it. I said, but every time I mention money, you get aggressive. And I was like, why? I said, you got an issue with money, don't you? And she was like, what are you talking about, Marvin? I'm just saying stuff every time you look around, I got to spend more money on this popping up. I'm like, I don't have the money to spend like cents, but you do have the money. But when money come up in your world, you get tense. And we had to really go deep in that, because it didn't happen right up front. But I knew the side effects of it because I had an issue with money. So I get real tense when I had to spend money, because it
You
was a part of
still
my life.
tense.
I
You
get
still.
tense when I had to spend money.
I was about to say it takes one to know one. You know that, right? That was the first thing I said. When somebody call you selfish, it's
Yeah.
because they got the same issue.
But that was the whole thing about, like, I knew it was in her because it was in me. That's the reason why I could detect it. It wasn't that I was just like so smart and so intelligent and so wise. No, I knew the side effects of it. So, but I had dealt with it before, I had already dealt with it into a measure where I can actually teach it and give her some advice on it. And then when I saw it, I was like, hey, Cynthia, we can, I don't know what we talked about, but it was a long conversation. But overall, over the years, she have gotten better. And like, you don't see it no more. It's like, it is what it is. Now, if I got it, I got it. If I don't, I don't. And that's the way we have to see things. That's how you know that that memory is gone. That memory of not having enough money is deleting, it's dissipating right before your eyes when it don't bother you no more. See, that's how we know when we are starting to understand who we are, because who we're not don't bother us no more. It don't take control over us. So that is a very good description of understand who you're not to understand who you are. And once you understand who you are, it's another journey from there, because now you have to live in that place of who you are,
Mm,
because you're always going to change. You may live in that place of who you are for that moment, but then
yeah.
probably another 3 or 4 days or 3 or 4 weeks or 3 or 4 years, you're going to be a something totally different. You have to
Hmm.
always be replacing and renewing yourself. Like the
Yes.
Bible say, renew your mind daily, renew it daily. Because the more you renew, the more you grow. And the more you become wiser, intelligent, you become who you always thought you would be, but never can imagine you can be so much more. So that's my perception of it through my stories. What you
Oh,
think,
wow.
Cynthia?
That is just deep. It's
Uh,
just deep. And Marvin, I can go and pick so many things that you have laid out on the table as like a example of working out that master key, molding yourself.
yeah,
You over the past 10 years, people think, nowadays, what I'm trying to say is that nowadays a lot of people think that things happen overnight.
no,
But
they don't.
as you're telling your story and you saying it took 10 years, and I'm looking at all the places, all the arrows in the back, all the stumbling blocks, and you're
Yes,
still able to go back and say, I'm not who I was last year. I'm not
yeah,
who I was 5 years ago.
yes.
That's
10
called
years ago.
growth.
Growth, wisdom, and being able to stay focused and going forward. I learned this technique probably about 7, 8 years ago.
Okay.
And I was reading this book by Dale Carnegie, um, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. That was the name of this book. Because I was at a place 10 years ago. Man, I was at a really just depressed moment, this depressed place where I couldn't see a way out. I needed some help to figure out, why am I not doing what I really want to do?
Mm, that's a
And
question
and I
I
had to
have.
I had to really, when I bought this book, and the chapter that really touched me it was called Airtight Compartments. And I was like, airtight compartments, what is that? So I kept reading the chapter, and I fell in love with this concept, because the master key is about to be exposed. I'm gonna give you a different level of how to use this master key.
Okay.
So this chapter is called Airtight Compartments. It was about taking your bad memories and your good memories and storing them. And the reason why I was going through so much, I had my bad memories and my good memories in the same place.
Mm,
That was crazy. How could you have your bad memories and your good memories in the same place? The
yeah.
moment you're feeling good that day, then all of a sudden, bam, you're feeling bad.
Hmm.
You got these bad thoughts coming through. So this airtight compartment concept was taken off a ship. Now, big major ships have these little airtight compartments at the bottom of the ship, just in case someone shoot a torpedo or a bomb and it blow up, or you hit something in the bottom of the ocean and it damaged one part of the ship. You can cut that part of the ship off so it prevent the whole ship from flooding. So they
Mm,
got these little bitty airtight compartments throughout the whole ship, all at the bottom of the ship. So he used the analogy of that. He said, now take, for instance, that you create an airtight compartment in your mental thoughts where you can
Mm.
take a negative thought and lock it, take that key, take that master key, open it up, throw the bad memory inside of the compartment and lock it until you're ready to go back to it. I didn't say forget it. I didn't say dis disarm it. Just store it there. That's all you need to do. Store it in this little compartment. And
Mm-hmm.
every bad memory that affect your day, throw it into the compartment until you don't see these memories no more, and you can actually go out your day effectively. Now,
Okay.
when it's time to go back to the memories, because you're gonna have to deal with them. You can't just lock them there and forget about them because they're gonna eventually flare up somewhere because you still have these issues. When you get ready to deal with that bad memory, you go, you take that key, the master key to the lock, because this master key open up all those mental
Mm-hmm.
airtight compartments. You have the key. You are the key.
Mm-hmm.
It's like knowing who you are. That's the key. When you open that door, just let that one memory out and start dealing with it. It may be a memory of you and your mom had a bad relationship. Your communication is very poor, and you don't, and so you lock the memory up by putting this airtight compartment. And in doing so, you stop calling your mom. You haven't talked to your mom in a whole year, or talked to your father in a whole year, or talked to a ex-husband or a best friend in a whole year. You just locked it down for a year. Eventually you're going to see her,
Yeah.
you're going to see them, and that memory going to have to be exposed, because now you're creating bad karma on that memory. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this airtight compartment was designed not to forget your memories, but it's only to store them until
Okay.
you was well enough or strong enough to go back to it and open that door up with that key and say, I'm ready for you. I think I am grown enough. I think I'm ready to face this memory. And I'm thinking I'm ready to go in it and resolve it. I forgive myself for taking so long to getting to this memory. And I'm ready to forgive the other person or hear what the other person have to say. That is what it means by locking those memories in airtight compartments and not just letting them linger around in your mental space all day, every day, and not knowing why you're depressed, why you're always going off in these people, why you're creating all these, inner vows. I'm not gonna never do that again because last time I did that, it just hurt me so bad. I'm never gonna talk to this kind of person. I'm never gonna work this kind of job. I'm never gonna drive fast again because I got a speeding ticket. No, don't never gonna do nothing. Quit making them inner vows, because when you're making an vow, you actually obey it, because your brain don't know what's good and what's bad. It reacts off what the vow that you created. And that's a very dangerous thing to make inner vows. Just see it, lock it back in an airtight compartment until you're ready for it. And then you ask yourself, I'm ready for to get forgiveness from my friend. I'm ready to have this conversation.
I have a question for you. Now, you say to go back, like one, I think the body can automatically put these bad memories in these airtight compartments.
Hmm.
We're built to protect ourselves.
Hmm.
Now, the body can also automatically open up those doors when we do feel well enough, when it feels that, hey, you're well enough, you're strong enough, you're not as vulnerable as you was. This memory needs to come out because
And
this
let's deal
memory
with
is,
it
yeah,
and deal
it's
with
a
it.
childhood memory. This memory was a memory from somebody that can't hurt you no more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're gonna have to deal with this.
Yes.
So
So what's the
my
question you have for me?
so my question for you is this: how can you explain to the audience how a person can intentionally go into those airtight places and open up those doors? Because it's easier for us to say, open up those memories and deal with one of them, but there's
Hmm.
a process, there's a system.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't realize this because we frequently follow these systems, follow these steps to get to that space. But there's a lot of people out there that in my audience that don't know about those steps, people that are
So
just coming in to the
this
group.
is the step, Cynthia. This is the way I do it, and the way I have learned over the years to go back into those memories. Okay, just say hypothetically, me and you had a disagreement or argument about something,
Mhm.
and we didn't get it. We just like it was just a big argument. I allowed my egoic self to say shit that I shouldn't have said that hurt your feelings. I used some of your memories that you shared with me
Mhm.
that you was going through. I use them to hurt you.
Mhm.
And this is when you're sharing something with somebody and
Yeah.
you use it against them in an argument. That's like a violation.
Oh,
That's
it
like
is.
that's
It's a stab in the back. It's a stab in the
that,
back. Like, ooh,
that's
I
like
can't
that's a
believe you.
violation, right? I'll just say that's a violation because you know it's going to hurt them. You know it's
Yeah.
going to hurt them. So it's a violation. So just say I violated you. I mistrust.
Mhm.
You felt that I never was going to share this, but I did it, and we didn't talk for about a year. So let's say it went on for a year. It just so happened I'm walking in Walmart and I see you,
Okay.
like walking in Walmart and I see you. The first thing, if you're in a situation like that with one of your friends, the first thing you want to do is turn around. You don't even want to act like you see them, and you don't want them to see you. So if you feel that way when you see that person, it's time to resolve it. It's been a year, it's been too long, and that memory is still hovering. Instead of you going up to them, hugging them, and say, "Man, I miss you. The shit I did to you, it was crazy. You know, I really want to sit down and talk and just talk this out and get all this stuff out on the table." If you
Mm,
can't do that the moment you see that person,
powerful.
you need to. If you turn around and go the other way, now it's time to do some work. Now it's time to ask yourself this question: why did I turn around? I the one was in the wrong when I, said things to hurt her. So why did I turn around? And two, so first you have to admit it because you say what's the system and how to get over it. First, you need to admit that you was wrong. You need to admit that you the one caused the chaos in the relationship. You need to admit to your part because both of y'all probably said some stuff, but you need to first admit to your part. The
Okay.
second step, you need to ask for forgiveness. You need to forgive you and ask for forgiveness of the next person.
First, admit.
First,
Second,
admit.
forgive.
No, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting out of line. Forgiveness is number three. First, need to admit, right,
Mm-hmm.
that you was wrong.
Yeah.
Second, you're gonna have to grieve it. You have to grieve that what you did to that person was wrong.
Mm.
You have to really sit in it and say, you know what, and analyze why I was wrong. Why did I need to admit to it? What was it about me at that very moment? Did I pull out something so special to her to as a weapon? Why did I do it? So I need to grieve that memory. I need to go
Mm.
back and analyze that memory.
I like how you capture that and call it grieving a memory.
Yes, you have to
Just
grieve that
it's
memory.
like you putting it to you're burying that memory is done and over with. That memory is now dead, and you have an opportunity to wash it away with when you
Wash it
grieve.
away. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
then you say, now it's time. Now, once you admit that you're wrong, once you start the grieving process, because if you never admit that you're wrong, you're never going to grieve
Mm.
because you don't feel that you did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're never going to establish the relationship ever. You're never going to establish a relationship. So you admit, you grieve, then it's time for forgiveness. First, you have to
Mm.
forgive yourself for pulling out that trump card that you never should have pulled out because you shared what you shared to me in confidence of me to motivate you and strengthen you and build you up. You didn't share it to give me a weapon to use it against you, especially if I know it's not healed. And that's like one of the lowest things you can do to someone is pull a bad memory out that you know that hurt them and use it as a weapon. And a lot
Why
of
do
people,
people do that?
we do that and because we don't understand how powerful that memory, that weapon is. That is like one of those weapons, man, would cause a person to go kill themselves. That is a very two-edged, that is a very powerful, sharp, two-edged sword. So if I don't admit that I was wrong and I don't grieve what I did, because whatever I did to you, man, I can't even express how effed up that is. Just excuse my French because I really have to express this. It is very messed up to use a best friend or anyone memory to use as a weapon. So I have to grieve that, like trying to figure out why did I use it as a weapon? Why I had to go so low? Was it about that argument that hurt me? I need to forgive myself. And once I forgive me, then I'm saying, Cynthia, we need to talk. See, true forgiveness comes from when you go ask for a person for forgiveness, I feel that you don't just ask for forgiveness for what I did. You ask for forgiveness what I didn't see, what I've been experiencing, and what I did. I'm going to explain
Say
to you
that. Say
step
that
by
one more
step
time. Say that one more
what
time.
I
Say that one more
see,
time.
what I feel, and what I forget, and what I did.
Yeah.
I saw the pain. I felt it because I had to grieve it. I had to grieve the pain that I caused you, not I caused me, because the pain came from me to you. And then the pain I caused myself for not sharing and speaking with you on a day to day basis like I normally would. I have
Mm.
lost so many moments of the hour, moments of the day, time of the year, not sharing my dreams, not listening to your dreams and your issues and my issues. I didn't have no one to share with no more. For a whole year, I had to suffer through that. If that's the timeline that you went through. So once I come to you with sincerity and with humility, you're going to forgive me right up front. You're going to be like, what took you so long? Like, I've been
That's
feeling the
true.
same way. I've been wanting to come to you, but I didn't know how. Then you will share your part of it. You will share everything about what you was going through for that year. I share what I was going through that for year. And number four, that's the best of all. Now we back in fellowship. We back where we left off. And if you really was sincere and if you really grieve properly, and if you really forgave yourself and asked the other person to forgive you,
We're
that will
back in
never happen
harmony.
again.
So we're back in harmony.
We're back in harmony now. We can call each other now, man. Woo, I've been missing you so much. Lord, help me.
I miss
I
my
got so much stuff to
friend.
share with you.
This reminds me as you're going through the 4 steps, it reminds me of a prayer that I heard called the Ho'oponopono prayer,
Mhm.
cleansing prayer. It's for forgiveness.
Yes.
And hold on, I'm pulling it up.
Man,
And the 4 elements of the Ho'oponopono prayer is just that, but in different words.
yeah.
Where it says first, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you.
Yes. Man, if we could just get that concept and understand what we have to go through when we be wrong someone, you're not going to always be wronging people because that process is a process, especially when you get to the grieving part, because you're going to have to figure out why did you choose to do that? Why did you use such piercing words or statements or phrases to hurt that person? Why did I do that? What was it about me that made me go there? Because you have to figure out why you were so ruthless. So
Uh,
that part of that second step, man, this is something else.
that's the hardest thing.
That's the hardest step. That's the hardest
Because
step.
some people will admit it. They'll go to in front of the judge. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, I did it, and
And
I do it again. And like,
thank
oh,
you.
okay, okay, you haven't learned. You gonna learn when you be in jail for long
Thank
enough. You're
you.
gonna learn. You're gonna grieve something.
Thank you. So it's
But that's
like,
but that is the step, Cynthia, that I learned that step from someone. I don't know. I done read so many books and read so many
mm,
things, and that step I learned from someone. I don't know who it was. I can't even give them the props for it, but I just tweaked it a little bit in my way. But I think it was Abraham Hicks, if I'm not mistaken,
mm.
because that's the name keep coming up. It was Abraham Hicks because I'm a big fan of Abraham Hicks. So that was one of my mentors as I was on my journey, and I think that's who it was. And
Tell the audience a little bit about Abraham Hicks as, being one of your mentors and
Abraham
how did
Hicks
you
was just
even get what well actually my question is how did you even get introduced?
to Abraham Hicks.
Yeah. because a lot of people, it's working. Master key is we're already there, that we have people behind us
Mhm.
that's trying to figure out how to climb the rope. So
Well,
it's getting that first.
Abraham Hicks was way down the journey, way down the line before I got to her. I had to go through so many more levels of her before I got to her. At first I was, a, a Christian, so it was the Bible, the first step. I read so much. I read the Bible twice, the full Bible twice, and I always studied the King James Reference Bible. So that was like one of my greatest tools back in when I
Mm.
was about 20, 22, 23. I'm 47 now, so I don't even remember the last time I picked the Bible up. It's been that long ago. It's probably
Well,
man,
you
about
read it
10.
from front to back.
Yes,
It's
it's been about 10 years since I picked the Bible up. But that was the first part of me to understand the principles of God, and the stories, because I don't look at the Bible as, as most people look at it. I looked at it as um, individuals' journey, and they told their story, just like Marvin Deere and just like Cynthia Jean. We tell our own story. Just so happened they stories were written down. Our stories are written down in books and journals and blogs and this show stuff like this where people can actually go back and listen to it. That's our stories. But over the years, I have listened. So the Bible was the first, and my favorite character was Paul, and my second favorite was Jesus. And you would think it would be the
the
opposite,
reverse.
but it's not. My favorite was Paul.
Right.
Paul, man, he was like my brother. So that was like I knew him personally. When it then Jesus was more subtle and more kind, but Paul was aggressive. He was,
Mm.
he was a risk taker. So I guess that's the reason why I related to him so much, because I was a risk taker and I was aggressive. But after that, I went to this guy named Bob George. I haven't heard of him in a long time. I haven't heard anything he's been doing, but he was really big on the scene back in 15, 20 years
Bob
ago.
George.
His name called Bob George.
Okay.
Man, he was man. That guy. He was very powerful, and man, in the religious, in the religious setting. So I was in love with him, and then it went to Agent Rogers, you know, a pastor of Bellevue Baptist Church, and that guy inspired me greatly. And then it went to Course of Miracles. So that's how I actually introduced myself to Abraham Hicks through A Course of Miracles. So
Mm.
reading A Course of Miracles, most every man, great uh, spiritual guru, I feel Course of Miracles is going to be their base. That's going to be
Yes.
their baseline. That's what they, gravitate to. A Course of Miracles by Bill and Helen. And I'll tell you the story there on another show. But after Course of Miracles, it went to A Way of Mastery. After Way of Mastery, it went to Neil Garner. I think it was Neil Garner that we started reading, Cynthia. Um, I think it was called Command. I think that's what it was. At Your Command.
Yes.
At Your Command. See, all these books, man, these books would take you down through that journey. And after that, I just went to Marvin Talks. I went to my own consciousness where God can work through me and share my part, my journey with the world. So, but Abraham Hicks was one of those practical individuals that was channeling through another individual. So Abraham Hicks was the person that was channeling through, I forgot her name, her real name, but Abraham Hicks was the person that was channeling through her. And she always spoke about consciousness and understanding who you are and understand who you're not and understand how humans, man, we are so far from the truth. We pay attention to all these materialistic things, and we gravitate to people wanting to become part of another person's life to become better instead of becoming an individual. Abraham Hicks spoke on so much individuality to being yourself and just understanding the journey, understanding your day-to-day journey. So she was a great role model for me, Abraham Hicks.
One thing that I hear as you let us know the path the spiritual leaders and masters, and the intense learning, because
Yes.
Course in Miracles is not a joke.
No. If anybody ever heard of Course of Miracles, that's like one of those books would throw you into a whirlwind of nothingness. And
Mm,
you'll go down a rabbit hole so deep that you don't know
hmm.
your way back out unless
Yeah,
you follow or unless you remember your true self.
yeah.
Remember your
So
true self. Remember your God self, because Course of Miracles is about love, about extending love, about
finding
compassion,
who you are.
about sharing empathy, sharing. Man, Course of Miracles teach you. Course of Miracles will strip everything from you that's not good, and the only thing that will be left is good, and you will be able to share with the world what's good. And most of the time, you're gonna sound like a book because your word gonna be that damn good. It's
So
like,
what I want the audience to reflect on is that over these past years, you're constantly working on yourself,
yes,
constantly learning more, developing, asking yourself the hard questions. That's how you develop yourself. That's how you get rid, you can go into those bitter roots, that airtight space that has that memory, those scary
yes,
memories, those memories
yes,
that hurt, those memories that's going to bring you down.
yes.
Is by doing that self analyzation, is
I'm
by
gonna give,
sitting down and reading and applying the things that you're reading. Course in Miracles has you sit down and really ask yourself some questions.
some deep
Within two or
questions.
three, within 2 or 3 sentences, you could put
Yes,
the book down and you asking yourself some real deep questions.
yes.
Like
You
it's
may
not.
not have to read it no more for a month because you need to know the answer.
Yes, yes. So it's
That's a
one of
book you're
those
gonna take.
heavy
It's a life
hitters.
journey. It's a life
It
journey, Course of Miracles.
Course of Miracles is walking around with a mirror
Every
to your
day.
spirit.
Every day.
Everywhere you go is looking right back at you.
Yes. I want to tell
Every
you.
line you discover, every page you turn, that's more of you that's being discovered in that mirror.
So
It's
you're saying this, and and I don't mean to interrupt you, Cynthia, but this keep flashing, and it have to be said, right? So I got this from one of my other favorite authors and motivational speakers and spiritual guru is Neil Donald Walsh
mm-hmm,
from Conversation with God. I think it was Conversation with God, book 2, where I got this from. And he was talking to God, and God told Neil a story. And the story was about a star wanting to know who he was. And God told the star, "Do you really want to know who you are?" And the star said, "Yes, I want to know who I am." He said, "Well, in order to know who you are, you first have to know who you're not." And the star said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You have to experience darkness.
mm,
You have to not be a star, but be darkness." See, the star only experiences itself as being light. When the star said, "I really want to know who I am," so the star had to experience darkness, and you had to find your way back to light. I look at us as that star,
mm,
humans as that star, as being a star or being in the image of God. In order to truly understand who we really are, we first have to understand who we're not. See, they go back to where we started this conversation on who we're not. And then we have to find our way back home to who we are. That is the journey. Understanding who we're not, which is not a human, and understanding who we are, which is God expressing himself as a human, a spiritual being. That's what we are, living in physical bodies. And we all are connected.
mm.
We're not not connected, even though we have different bodies. And we have different entities, but we are all one. We are all connected. We are the same person, which is God expressing himself as Cynthia, Marvin, and whomever you are out there listening.
Yes.
God is so powerful and so impatient that he wants to express himself through all of us, all at the same time. He wants to express himself through Marvin, Cynthia, through trees, through a lion, through a bird, through wind, water,
It's
fire,
true.
earth, the sky, the space, stars, galaxies. This is how powerful this entity is. All at the same time, expressing past, present, and future, all at the same time. This is
Ma-
what we are.
Marvin, that's exactly what happens when you discover that you are the master key. You get
Yes.
to open any door,
Any door,
you know,
whenever you
you get
want to
to
open it,
shine anywhere. And if you at a moment where you're not shining, you know why too.
because you are
You know,
experiencing what you're
being
not.
grateful in the desert. Yeah.
Yes.
And you understand that you got the master key and you walking in here and say, you know what? I need to go into the desert. I need
Because
to
I need
go
to
climb that
understand what.
mountain. Yeah.
Yes, I need to go
I need
through. I need to go through some shit. I need to
yeah.
see some stuff that I
I need
didn't
some
see
muscles. I'm
before.
getting weak down here. I'm sleep. I'm getting I'm losing, you know.
I have a talk called "Understanding Your 24-Hour Journey." That's
Mm,
one of my favorite talks. I listen to my talks more than anyone. I think I listen to them over and over and over every day, all day. But this particular talk is understanding your 24-hour journey, understanding every single moment of the day,
mhm.
every single moment, not just some of it. Understanding when you wake up, meditation, breathing, exercising, remembering all of these things, understanding the reason why you brush your teeth, why you put nice clothes on, understanding how you feel that morning, because how you feel is going to determine what you put on, understanding how you display into the world, how your energy and your frequencies is vibrating when you go out in the world. It all determined on your yesterday. See, we can bring in good things from our yesterday and make our tomorrow so much better. Or we can allow those bad memories to come in from yesterday into today and make our today as worse if yesterday was. See, we have this choice every single day. It's a
Mhm.
24-hour journey. We think that it takes years to understand who we are, but it only takes days, moments, memories.
Seconds.
If you understand your yesterday, you will understand your today. If you pay attention to your today, your tomorrow will always be great. That
Mm,
24-hour journey is the only thing we should stay focused on. Nothing else. We only have probably about 8 hours of the day that we're really conscious and awake and we really communicate with other people. The rest of it we're sleeping or preparing for bed or preparing to cook or preparing if you have children, homework, if you have a husband, taking care of the husband, sex, whatever it is, you only have probably about 8 hours of the day for you. So
mhm.
all of those interactions with all of those different things is going to determine on how that last 8 hours of your day is spent. When you go to sleep, when you go into meditation, which I do every night before I go to bed, I conjure up whatever I want to see tomorrow. Whatever I experience that day, I forgive it and I go forward. I forgive even if I don't forgive the person, I forgive me for being rude. Like, just say, if I was rude to a person, Lord, forgive me for being rude to the person I didn't even know. I was rude. I blowed the horn. She was slow. I was in a hurry. She throwed her finger up and I throw mine up too. Forgive me for
I don't usually ask for forgiveness
that.
for those things.
But what you don't
But
understand is,
if I do cuss somebody out, I do ask for forgiveness. I'll be like, Lord, I'm so sorry. I done
yeah, yeah, like, but you
cussed
you do
somebody
know,
out,
if you
came out
if
of
you don't if
character.
you don't recognize those things, Cynthia, you don't know what kind of bad juju or bad karma that
Hmm.
other person is placing on you. You don't know what kind of curse that person placed on you.
Or
You need to
what
clear that karma up right there.
exactly?
You need to clear it up
What
because a
energy
lot of time,
frequency are you standing in? Because sometimes the frequency might not be good, and you're just responding. your frequency is just responding to all the frequency that surrounds it.
That's around you.
You
You
know,
just
so
that's why you have to understand and pay attention to your 24-hour journey.
hmm
I made a talk um, one day. It was called 24-hour journey, but it was a different talk. It was same. It was kind of same sound. It was the same but different. And I was like, when you meet a person and you see this, a person, a homeless person on the side of the street, asking you for money. I said, how many people actually asked him their name? How many people actually introduce yourself to that person you give money to?
I've done it before, and can I tell you, the homeless person was shocked.
Yeah, like how many people I gave money to a person before I gave them anything. I said, "How are you today?" And they said, "Fine." We had to go real fast because we had a stoplight. I said, "How are you today?" She said, "Good." I said, "My name is Marvin. What's your name?" And she gave me her name. And I said, "Here you go, something for you today. I hope it's bless you."
Nice.
And that's it. But you know how meaningful
Powerful that is.
and how powerful those words are. Or you can say something motivational or say
It
something on
says,
your
I
heart.
see you.
Yeah,
And
like
that's
I
all
see
people
you.
want. They just
Like
want
I
to be
see you.
seen. I see you. You are a
Yeah.
human being. You,
I just
you
want
are.
to give you something. Yes. See, that's honest. That's
I see the
understanding.
God in you.
Yes. That's when you're at that level, Cynthia, you're starting to pay attention to your 24-hour journey. Every
Mm,
single moment of the day, pay attention to it because that is what's going to make your tomorrow better. Every single moment of the day, every single comment, every single thought,
mm.
most of all, every single thought. Because if we start thinking negative thoughts throughout the day and we don't understand what's going on when we wake up the next day. Hell, probably you probably thought before you went to bed you carried all of that craziness with you to sleep.
You
And
have
then
to release. You have to store. You have to debrief.
yes, like before you go to bed, it's a technique I use before I go to bed. I I tell myself to release myself from work. Like I tell my body, I am
Mm,
about to sleep now. I'm no longer at work. I am off mentally and physically. So stop working. I tell my feet, my legs, my arms, my thighs to relax. Go into a deep meditation. Go allow your muscles to go into this deep relaxation and and tell it from your feet all the way to your head. And about time you get to your head and to your eyes, it just say now sleep and sleep well.
mm.
You just release all that yesterday, all that today. You released it, and you are preparing yourself to receive whatever come in through your dream world for tomorrow. You're not taking all that chaos with you. This is the reason why a lot of people say if you with a couple, don't go, to bed mad, make
Yeah.
up, ask for forgiveness. There's a reason why they say these kind of things because they know that if we can go to sleep on one accord in the morning, it would be better. If it don't be better, we'll be able to understand it, or God may show us some kind of clarity in our dreams to or show us some kind of guilt or show us shame or show us where we should have been a little bit more obedient, where we should have been a little bit more, we should have listened a little bit more. See, it go all the way back to the beginning of this conversation, understanding who you're not to understand who you are.
Right.
This is the journey of it. These things that we're sharing is the journey of understanding who you're not and allow who you are to display.
And
You don't have to, hmm?
it comes in so many pieces. You
Yes,
know,
man,
it's not just
this
one
deep, man. This
story.
deep.
It's
This
not just one.
conversation
Yeah, it's not
is this
just
conversation.
one experience. Um, but it's several, and being receptive of them. Where
Yes,
you're looking at these experiences and saying, okay, what am I going to take out of this? It's like you have a car, the car done broke down, and you're like, okay, well, I'm
yeah,
gonna take all the pieces, I'm gonna piece it out. The
yes,
alternator good, the engine good, this is good. I'm gonna piece it out. You
yes,
know, so it's the same thing that the master key system offers to people. You know, piecing it out one day at a time. This right here ain't working for me no more. This ain't no good, so I gotta take this out
take this out,
and put it
replace it
to
with
something
something
bigger
else.
and better.
Yeah, replace it. Now, sometimes what you replace it with may be worse, but
Mm. We ain't
you
even gonna touch that point. Yeah.
but it's
You
the
going under the
experience. It's the
rocks. Yeah,
experience. It's the
that's a big,
experience.
yeah. Surprise.
Like surprise, this don't work either, nigga. I'm
This
just
is
saying.
worse than what you was thinking.
I'm sorry,
You thought
man.
wrong. That
But true,
usually when you get those
sometimes you take out pieces.
surprises,
Yeah,
when you
sometimes you
get
take out a piece and it
those
don't
jack in
work.
the boxes,
Yeah,
those jack in the boxes really wake you up because
yeah.
you might have been going around the same circle, but that circle really wasn't hurting you. You're so accustomed to it. It might be a generational mountain that you walking around that's been
Yeah.
passed down from your great 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 granddaddy, and you just
You don't
tooting
even know.
along. And sometimes, you make a decision. It's like it's a worse decision. You know what I mean?
But you know what? You can't be afraid to fail.
Oh, it's in the failure. It's in the biggest failures that you
That's
find
when you
the
become
biggest
successful.
success. Yeah,
Yeah. I
that's
don't think I
when,
would be who I am today if I didn't have so many failed relationships, so many
man.
failed, concepts, so many failed ideas. It made me a better person. It
You
made me
don't see the
see.
smile on my face. I look forward to I call them opportunities.
Feelings of failure.
Okay, I
I
look
welcome them.
forward because when before you fail, before you put that logo on it, there were opportunities to win. And
Yes.
you had great days like, wow, we got our first sale. Yay. Da, 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 da. We're doing this. We're printing out logos and we're going here. We're
Yes.
going to Vegas. And then one fault move or a couple things that we didn't pay attention to. Uh, uh, uh.
Now
But you
you don't have
learn
sales
from
for a
it.
whole month. You
You
have sales
learn
for a whole
from it
month.
and it makes you better.
Yes.
It opens up your eyes. It's like, okay, what I see it as is that the universe is ready to take me to, I'm at this level right here,
Hmm.
where the only thing I have to look at this level that I'm responsible for at this level is my little hoopty, my little apartment, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Just me.
Now something bad happened to the hoopty. I'm in a hole. I can't get to work. I'm about to lose the apartment. Man, I ain't never worked so hard in my life. Working two jobs. Now I got the Mercedes. And once I'm driving in the Mercedes, I'm looking like, man, the hood, I can't be parking my car in the hood. These
Around
motherfuckers,
here.
they be playing football in the streets and stuff. So hit
Mm.
my Mercedes. Now I'm looking at the condos on the east side, you know? So
Yeah.
that difficulty where it was like, man, I'm in a hole. I'm about to go down. I'm about to drown. Man, put a different type of energy, a different type of fire that I didn't know I had. I didn't know I
Yeah.
had that much fuel
You
in my
you
tank.
remember you remember who you are then, don't you?
Man, now I'm on this level.
Like, but you always been on that level.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I tell
We
people
hold
all the
ourselves
time,
back. Like we're on that level, but we hold ourselves back because it's like,
yeah,
oh well, I have my car, I have this, this is what I know. This is
yeah.
these are the things that I'm comfortable with.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and I know we're gonna have to end this conversation because we ain't
Very
giving
soon. It's
we
already
ain't gi-
been an hour.
we,
I'm gonna
we
end
ain't
it
giving them so much,
with a
Cynthia, so
prayer.
much.
Yes.
I want to give too much, but I want to say this before I leave because it just came through, and I think it's very important to tell this to the audience right now. How I must tell this to you. You know when you're going through something and you start to feel frust- the frustration of it, the pain of it, and you don't know which way to go, who to talk to. You're exhausted. All the people's in your phone just trying to share something with, and no one can understand what you're trying to say and what you're going through. And you get to that place where it just make you uncomfortable going through what you're experiencing. I want to tell you this. When you're in that place, just rest in it. Don't try to go telling the world, telling your friends. Rest in it so that you can understand why you are here. Because the thing about what we're sharing today, understanding who you're not to understand who you are, that's where you understand who you are at in that place of nothingness, in that place of sadness. Because that's where you get all the clarity, where you can ask yourself all the right questions, not get another person's opinion, not share, trying to steal somebody else's energy to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Face it head on. This is who you are. You're a goddamn mess. Face it. What I did was wrong. What I'm doing, I'm buying this and buying that, trying to hang with the Joneses. This is not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I hear stories all the time about people trying to be something that they're not, and then they put themselves in a situation that cause pain and frustration, and sometimes being put out in the street, or sometimes losing their wife, or
Loved ones,
man,
their
we do some
children.
of the craziest things trying to not feel that pain. Feel the pain, because the pain is what's going to get you through. I know it sounds crazy what I'm saying. If you have to cry, cry. If you have to scream, scream as loud as you possibly can scream until you don't have a voice no more. If you have to run in the street butt naked, do what it takes to get it off of you. Do what it takes to understand that this is what I have to deal with, and now I'm gonna have to deal with this alone. And then at the very moment of releasing all those tears and crying and just crying out to God, no one else, just Him, that light will start to shine. You'll start to remember, this is who I am. What I just expressed and all the stuff I just did, it looks so crazy. I'm better than that. But I had to go through that to understand that I'm better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're feeling the pain, that means that you want to change.
Yeah.
People that don't want to change don't feel pain. They don't give a flip about what's right and
That's
what's
true.
wrong. They just care about themselves. And they would go around the world hurting people day after day after day. And the
Mm-hmm.
more people say, you hurt me, you this, they don't care. But the very act of you caring about what is going on in your world, that is the sign of you are evolving, you are changing, you are starting to remember your true self. And that's the most important thing, remembering. But sometimes the remembering do look kind of ugly. So don't give up. Don't give up in understanding who you are just because you don't like what you see when you display who you're not. That's the message I want to leave with everyone today, Cynthia. That don't give up when you're seeing who you're not, because trust me, who you are going to appear, and man, you are going to love it. You'll never ever go back to that place again. Once you get assigned some peace and some love and some happiness, you'll never choose chaos ever
Ever.
again.
So, just like you said, once you start feeling that peace and happiness, you'll never choose chaos ever again.
Never.
So, come on, guys, let's discover who we are. Let's find our master key so we could open up every door we can dream about.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Marvin, for going through this program with me
I love
and
it. I love it.
helping and putting our audience together, connecting great people with great resources to really get rid of those that loose skin that we've been talking about
I'm
and
looking
open up
forward.
those
I'm looking
doors.
forward to the next show, Cynthia. I'm looking forward
Yes.
to open up so many different concepts, so many different perceptions, because there's so many perceptions, and we can do so many different ways. We can do so many different things, so many different ways, and I'm just so excited to do them with you all. So until next time,
With
peace.
your girl, Cindy Jean, the Master Key System developed by me to help you discover who you are and get rid of who you're not. Thank you so much and see you next time.